Well, for years, photographer Herman Leonard used the power of the lens to create some iconic and well-known images of jazz musicians. Many of those prints are on display at Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. Our Byron Scott will take us on a tour.
I think the pictures do a wonderful job of capturing a moment in American music history.
In the Groove is a collection of photographs that captures an era in time. There are 28 prints on display, from singer Billie Holiday to drummer Buddy Rich.
The photographs that are featured in this exhibition are the work of Herman Leonard, who is really regarded as one of the preeminent recorders of images of major American jazz musicians.
The photographs cover the 1940s and 50s, which some consider the heyday of jazz. It was a time when the music was slimming down, so to speak.
That period when the big orchestras, the jazz and swing ensembles of the 30s and early 40s are giving way to the smaller groups that, instead of relying on full orchestrations and really large ensembles, are turning instead to smaller groups and improvisation, where the musicians really engage almost in a musical conversation with one another.
It was during that period that Herman Leonard, who also loved the music, put his big, bulky camera like this one to work.
One of the things that Leonard did was, rather than bringing artists, the performing artists, into his studio, he went to the clubs, the venues in New York, whether it was Minton's Playhouse in Harlem, or the Royal Roost, or some of the other jazz clubs in Midtown, and he bartered with the club owners. He didn't have the resources to pay the cover charges to attend the performances, so he arranged to take pictures in exchange for access to the clubs.
Leonard's work is immediately recognizable. There was a certain look to the images, a way he captures mood and contrast so clearly that you can almost hear the music.
One of the signature elements in many of the Leonard photographs is the smoke, which swirls around the performers. Everybody smoked. Leonard talked about the fact that there was smoke everywhere, and he loved the effects that he could get with the backlighting that he used, because it often just gives an almost sort of magical quality to the smoke.
Schumard says she doesn't have a favorite photograph per se. She says they all have something to tell us.
I'm very fond of the portrait of Billie Holiday because it captures her at a moment when she's really fresh and vibrant. You don't see the ravages that her difficult life, the toll that would later sort of take on her health, and you don't see that in this picture, and I like the fact that she's so vibrant and fresh.
Leonard would end his jazz photography career in the late 1950s when he moved to Paris and pursued commercial photography. As for In the Groove, it runs through February 20th.
He combined his love of photography and jazz ultimately to create the wonderful pictures that we see in this exhibition.
At the National Portrait Gallery, Byron Scott, CTV News.
And one of the musicians included in that exhibit is Ella Fitzgerald. Tomorrow night, we will introduce you to a Prince George's musician who performed with her.